Welcome, welcome, welcome. This is another Mastery Empowerment course on New Earth One Network for your empowered mastery. And today we are with a channel, Eddie Ben Abraham, who brings forward the whales, the original whales, and their messages with the seven founders. Eddie, thank you so much for being here. Welcome.
Thanks for having me. Appreciate it. Honored.
We are honored. This feels like a very important conversation. We can feel the shifts on the planet at this time. Many of us are going through interesting times. Being in the flow and being in the heart is essential. And so we are looking forward to what you have to share today. I'd like to start with your story. Can you tell us about your awakening and how you came into reading coffee? You have a talent in this and you have abilities, and all of it, and how you met the whales. Can you share with us that story?
Happy to. So, spirituality, connection, awareness has been since I was a child. It's been with me since I was a child. And thanks to my parents, my mom and dad, who are very connected as well, have guided me and mentored me, quote unquote, throughout the years. And when I started, my adulthood and then moved to the US, that have expanded to more assistance from very unique people, very unique brothers and sisters who have been there for me, and vice versa. It was a beautiful and profound journey to come to this point. So coffee readings has been part of a family tradition in a small sense of it. My mom knows how to read a little bit, and my neighbor, who was just across the building, used to read for me when I was a teenager, and that started this interest in this modality. And then when I came to the U.S., I met a couple of more who knew how to read. And then in 2009, I met an amazing man, Salah Saad, who has been reading coffee for many, many years. And at some point, I asked him, Salah, will you teach me? He said, sure. So for over 2 years, we sat together. I read for him, he read for me. And at the same time, after having, same time, I started also channeling. I started writing my own channels, and I had a website back then where I published the channels from Metatron, Cryon, Gaia, and so on, and other sources.
Mm.
This was one of the biggest, I would call, waves of coming into this spiritual phase. And that actually also began the spiritual boot camp, I call it. It was somewhere around the 2007 time. Now I look at it from the perspective of astrology, with Pluto coming in for, changing everything and causing some shifts in our personality and who we are. So that was around the time when this happens. And so I started reading for people, coffee, and then the next thing was in 2019 when I received the message to Open Vortex, a platform that will help and assist everyone who is in order to get into the new age, the golden age, new Earth. And this has been a beautiful journey. Um, as I was guided to slowly build one brick at a time in this platform to bring it to what it is today. And the connection to the whales came in a couple of years ago.
Wow.
I received a message, we're seven, and we're going to see you soon, and we're going to teach you the secrets of the universe. I said, okay, great.
Mm.
So months pass, and I find myself going to the beach more often than usual. And then one day they started talking and presenting themselves to who they are. So what they said is that we are the seven founders, and we represent the original whales from the galaxy of water. And a series of channels have come through where they ask me to come to the beach as often as I can, and I simply recorded every message they gave me. And that started that very unique relationship and the messages and all the quote unquote secrets.
So beautiful, really fascinating, lots to talk about here. I wanted to just say how beautiful to have supportive parents on your journey. What a leg up in the world. And it's a beautiful reminder for all parents out there that the next generation is we support them. Imagine that world, that beautiful world where people have their gifts that they're bringing forward like this and they're being supported. They're not being put down or told it's their imagination. It really, you are part of the new paradigm, and your parents are to be commended for that as well. So really quite beautiful. So all right, the whales, we all watching and listening feel such a great affinity to the whales, and we're looking forward to learning more about that. Before we get there though, I want to talk about the coffee reading. So what's going on here? Can you share a little bit more about that? The
Me too.
coffee.
So I see it as science.
What is it about coffee?
In a traditional sense, you would drink the coffee where you go visit the reader. So you sit, you have a conversation, you drink the coffee, and then the reader turns over the cup, and you get to see the letters, the lines, the timelines, words, pictures, faces, names, whatever you like. Anything can happen, animals, and all kinds of things. And so the reader starts to break it down. It's sort of a movie within the cup itself. Now, the reason I said science, it's not necessarily because of the coffee. You can do this with sand. You can do it with cocoa. You can do it with tea leaves. You can do it with any type of ingredient that would be as flexible as possible to show you what needs to be shown. Because again, we live in a reality, in a place where everything is related and connected to everything. And so at every given moment, our existence reflects itself on the outside and the inside. And so when we captured that moment, it's just like taking a picture. How does your future look at this moment in time? Is that moment in time when I turn over the cup. I invite the energy into the cup, your energy into the cup. And so the cup will show me, the coffee will show me. Now, the element that I relatively recently discovered is not the coffee, it's the water that has this elevated property to show you things. And so when you mix the water with tea leaves, with coffee, or anything else, there's an elevation of information that comes in. Water is the most important element in the universe. It is part of creation. It is the primary material, primary substance, primary matter that is responsible for all other matters. I know it sounds a little bit stretchy because what do you mean, Eddie? There's other matters in the world, but water is the base. Water is the foundation of everything else. And so the coffee is traditionally you go to the reader. With me, it's a little different. You don't have to drink the coffee. And so I'm able to give sessions worldwide by just you giving me a call and having all the questions on your mind and heart, and we dive into it. It's about an hour and a half session, and it gets very intense. Depending on how willing you are to open up, then that's how deep we're going to go. And I'm going to pluck things out of you. There's going to be some crying. You're going to shed some tears. Again, this is a work that needs to be done with anyone who's ready to accept it, to work on it. And this is two keys: willing to listen, willing to change. Will transform things.
Beautiful. It brings to mind a couple of things, actually. At one point, I heard some guy who had been working on a water purification device, and he was in the military, and they found water multidimensionally. And so that taught him something about the importance of water as well, where, wow, it's not only in this dimension, it's in another dimension. That surprised him, and it opened him up to all new things. And then we go to Masaru Emoto's work, and he actually was interviewed on this platform and said that water is God. In his whole life's research, that was what he boiled it down to. And so that's what you're learning as well. And that's what the whales say. So it really is quite fascinating, that water, and we can work with water in this way. We can bless our water. So tell us more about the water, and maybe what the whales told you about the universal, the galaxy of water.
So you're absolutely right with everything you just said. Emoto has done incredible work to show us how it is. It's true. He showed it to us. He didn't just tell us. He showed it. And I'm sure there's many other scientists and non-scientists, there's just researchers, homegrown researchers who discovered some profound things about water. Um, Perhaps they published it, and perhaps they were muffled away because of you can't share everything in the world, not yet. So, with regards to water, they have said that they started from the very beginning with the four elements of creation. It's a one and three. The one is consciousness, God's consciousness. And then there's gravity, time, and water. Now, when you take that on a grand scale and a very small scale, it works either way. Even if you take yourself as the consciousness of creation, you create things with the four ingredients. It's water, gravity, and time, and your consciousness. And so you being the consciousness and instructing the water to be what it is that you desire, you cause that miracle. And so you hold a cup of water in your hands and you close your eyes and you focus and you say, water of love, water of passion, water of growth, water of rejuvenation. Water is listening. And so you drink the water and you say, thank you. That is holy water. You create holy water by making it holy, and you have the God extension inside you to make it holy. You're the consciousness of God. We're not a part. Let us say we're part of God. I take that word part and set it aside, because a part is like having a part in a car. You take away the part. I say extension. We're not disconnected. We're simply an extension of source. We're so powerful. We have so much inside of us. And this goes beyond into other elements. One of them has to do with what I call the soul's mental grid. It is what I call the soul's anatomy. They started showing me this, not them, but previously in 2007, 2009, they started showing me a structure around us that is so big, so vast, that I didn't know what they were talking about. What did you show me? So after many, many years, since 2010, 2009, slowly, gradually became to something so importantly critical in the teachings of what I do, is the soul's mental grid. And what is the soul's mental grid? Many of us are aware of, for example, the Merkaba, the Taurus, the meridians, the energetical aspects of our beingness. There is something more. All those that I just mentioned exist within a particular field that is designed to meld the soul piece into the body. And it is big. It's about the size of a football field. Wow. Yeah. So we have the Merkabas, the first set, and there's another set of Merkabas which are a little bit bigger. There's a sphere matrix around us, and there's those tubes that go up to the center of it goes back to the galaxy, the main central sun, and then the one goes down to the core of the planet. And why am I bringing this up is to emphasize how profoundly powerful we are and how important we are. We have so much inside of us that we are just starting to grasp what it is, to feel what it is, and where this is heading, where this is going to go. And one of the things they said that within the soul's mental grid, the Merkabas has 17,000 codes, and these codes are going to be taught and experienced over many lifetimes. We're not going to learn everything in one lifetime because there's a very basic and important element with gifts. When you receive a gift, the responsibility is exponential to the value of the gift. And I'll give you an example. Let's say kinesiology. When we activate the codes of kinesiology within our Merkaba, we have to have an extended level of exponential level of responsibility. Meaning, if I'm able to move an object, I can also hurt someone, and we don't want that.
Mhm.
So the responsibility is exponential. The same thing with the rest of the codes. And going back to the water, when you choose to bless the water, to bless the air, to bless the ground, you have an effect on things. It's scientifically been proven, and we know this. Mothers knew it when they speak to their child in the belly. You have an effect on the water in your womb. Very sacred, very powerful stuff.
Yes. Yes. And, Dr. Joe Dispenza's work relates to this as well. He blesses the energy centers in the body, and he's proving it scientifically that it happens. So, all right. And so if we are 70% water and more, then we are very powerful. And so getting conscious with this, being very conscious with it, healing the water on the planet. We know many who are watching and listening to this actually go forward and heal
Mm-hmm.
the waters on the planet. And would it just be ritual? When I envision New Earth, I see perfect blue, crystalline, turquoise waters. And yet we know that the water does need a lot of healing. We've got trash on nearly every beach on the planet. That's sad. So what can we do in that case? Can you give us an idea on the power? And it's not just woo-woo, it's actually effective, isn't it?
I'm glad you brought this up because it's very important. And there's one thing I want to start with, and that is to know that Gaia, the Earth, is very resilient. And we have to take responsibility, not only for her, but for ourselves, to clean the water for ourselves, for our children. Collectively, we are heading that way. And just like you see it yourself, a beautiful future ahead, turquoise water. I agree with that 100%. And it is a process, and we're going to get there. As we are going through this biblical time on Earth, we're graduating. Earth is graduating. We're taking more responsibility on our own, on ourselves, and on our planet, and to one another as human beings, to one another. So there's a relationship between yourself, God, and everything around you. As we grow in our responsibility to all this relationship factor, we're becoming more aware, and we're learning things on a different or a higher level of seeingness, understanding, feeling. Compassion has to come in here in a great, great way. And so taking all these elements together, we're heading in that way. We already have the technology to clean the water. We just have to clean out the house. So those who resist it and don't want us to clean the planet and don't want us to eat healthy water, drink healthy water, they don't want us to eat healthy food and breathe healthy air, then all those going to go away. we're going to be free finally for after thousands of years to do that, what we are here to do, to live in our version of heaven on earth, create this blissful planet. It's going to take time, it's going to take work, but we're heading that way. Um, it begins with each one of us to clear out whatever is inside of us that no longer serves us. That's where it begins. To shed the anger of the past, the pain of the past, the sorrow, the resentment, the everything that's just we're just holding on to ourselves in the backpack or anywhere in our body, let it all go. And this is where the balance is going to come in. It's a relationship between one another. And then when that happens, we start to see, okay, how do we do this? How do we find this? How do we fix this? How do we repair this? How do we reverse this? And it's possible, absolutely 100% possible. It's coming. I'm 100% with this.
Yes, I feel it and I know it too. At times I don't know how. Um, but that's where all of the light workers doing the work, blessing the waters, will have that cumulative effect. Um, so let's go to the whales. Let's go to the whales. And I know you've channeled a lot and you've got lots of readings. You've written everything down. And I have to say thank you for that because you listened. You listened to your heart and you shared the messages. That really is important as people who are receiving this information. Now we actually have the responsibility to share it. And you've done that. And I just want to commend you for that. And I mean, gratitude. We all are.
Thank you, dear.
So then the seven founders, the original whales from the galaxy of water. Wow. Can you offer probably something that stuck out at you in the forefront of their message? Like what was something that stirred you so deeply from their message?
Stirred me. I think the depth of the relationship we have with them, with the whales, has given me more um, I would say it opened me up even more so. You know, in our work as light workers, we're always working to open our hearts to become more, and you know, sensitivity is power. So the key here is open the heart to be more part of this whole grand game that we have in front of us. So one of the things they've shown is that every planet that has the capacity, the ingredients to house an advanced civilization has to have whales on it. So the original whales from the galaxy of water, they're in charge of assigning the whales, this whale souls, to each of those planets that are ready to ascend. So the whales here on our planet have been here 30 million years ago, way before we arrived, way before we arrived in our humanoid form. And we have to have whales on the planet, otherwise we're not going to go anywhere. And as part of the teachings, what they've shown is that we are so aligned with them in such a beautiful way, and it has to do with water as well. It's all connected. So one of the things they've shown, and I share that with the classes, the free classes, is that source brings in the information, comes into the sun and other methods. That is in the form of light and coding. It goes into the water. The whales are in charge of taking that information and processing it. And then, and then they sing their songs in the water, code the water with their energy, with their power, with their language, which is so vast and complex. And that information, those songs, go directly into our DNA. no matter where you are. You can be in the desert, you could be up in the Himalayan mountains. It doesn't matter where you are. You can be somewhere in a cave, at home. Wherever you go, there's water. So the water is being transformed, transmuted, coded, and programmed. So those codes come into our cells, to our DNA. Now, what type of codes come in? They speak about cycles. Everything is cycles in the universe. So we do have a 13-year cycle where source comes in and checks in on us. Just putting it in a very simple way. So source comes in and says, "Hey, humanity, how you doing? What do you want to do for the next 13 years? Where are you headed? What is the will of the consciousness?" Okay, that's what it is. Here's my provisions. The provisions are the codes, the light that comes in throughout those 13 years that the whales go through and adapt that in. Now, I'm not saying that only the whales do the work. We also do the work as we become more in charge and more responsible and more aware, and our consciousness increases. We're able to do the work ourselves as well. And we're there. We're already there. We've been there for a while. So it's a very exciting times for us.
It is very exciting. And also, I can feel some hearts are distressed or are in despair when we see the continued mistreatment of whales, the disrespect or the beaching of whales. That is really disheartening to some. Have the whales given you a message about what's going on there and how we could sort of ease the grief?
So this goes back to even Cryon, who Cryon is channeled by Lee Carroll, and he's been talking about this for many years as well. And they also have, through me, have confirmed this. I mean, they commit. I mean, if the message is redundant, they don't repeat themselves. But I asked them again, what's going on? Is this still the same case as what Cryon has said before? And they said yes, and there's more. So what it is because of our magnetic realignment is moving forward on our planet. Whales tend to make a mistake thinking they're going in the right direction, where in fact they're not. That is one part. Second is human reason, and that is because of military activity. I don't know all the details, and I try not to go into it. Let's keep
Okay,
it simple.
let's keep it simple. And what we've talked about on this program is that no life is wasted. And in fact, when a human, a consciousness feels the sadness from such an activity, a whale beached, a whale killed, that their heart is opening. And you know what was very fascinating, Eddie, is that recently, maybe a couple of months ago in Australia, there was something that happened. There were many whales that beached themselves. And before, did you see this article? Before, I'm getting chills just thinking about it. Before they ended up beached, there was an aerial photograph taken of this whale pod, and it was in the shape of a heart. That to me is heart opening. That's an activation right there. And so, could it be that as they knew they were going to be sacrificed, as they knew perhaps maybe the sonar activity from the military was causing them distress to go and beach themselves, that they formed a heart in the water, a heart shape in the water. And the workers who were helping them spent so much time with these whales that they became very attached to them as well. That right there, I mean, it warms my heart that that act that could be seen as one of great despair actually brought in a lot of light, didn't it?
Mhm.
Mm-hmm.
Compassion is key, and this progress as we move forward, and we are willing to see this in that level and take it as an emotional expansiveness tool, then we're on the right track. If we would have ignored it, we would be in trouble. And so compassion is key to our evolution. Compassion is essential to our evolution. And we have to have a spike in compassion. And whatever shape or form that will um, embody this in us, activate this in us, is all God's plan to assist us because this is our trajectory. We're staying here. We're not going anywhere. Had this game been set to reset or end by 2013-14, Earth would look like Mars. So we're not going anywhere. We're staying. Now, compassion needs to spike in order to jump the level of um, ascend into new Earth. Let's call it this way. So think of it as like a ticket. You want to come into new Earth. We need to have a spike in compassion. How do we get into a spike of compassion? Through an event. Just like our brothers and sisters on any other planet, the Arcturians, the Pleiadians, they all have gone through it, and we're going through it right now. So we're building into it. And I say this with a lot of love. It's not going to be easy. It's still not easy. We're going through some very challenging times. It's going to get more challenging because we have to get to the spike of compassion. As then you say, no soul is you know die for a reason. I mean, the soul doesn't die, but the physical expression does shift. We move away, we move over. There's a reason for it. Everything is so precise, everything is so accurate, everything is, the coffee has given me such evidence to how things are so precise. I'll give you an example. Sometimes I do consecutive readings, either to myself or someone else. What do I mean by that? I open their cup almost every 2 days or something like that. Or let's say I stick to myself. I don't do it a lot to people. I do it to myself mostly, just to check things, see what's going on, learn new things, perhaps. How is it possible that when you look at 3 or 4 cups that were drank 3 days, 4 days apart, the visuals that you see in the cup are so similar to what has transpired the day before? And it tells you a story. What's about to happen? And it happens. This just goes to show how everything is so precise. It's so accurate. And so from the very minute to the very big, everything's precise. Take a deep breath. Everything's good. Be in love. Be in compassion. Know that everything's okay. It's not easy to see death. It's not easy to see grief and pain. That's where we have to open our hearts and to understand, to love, to facilitate and give that space for those who need it. And this is our work as light workers. We're able to see things from not, I wouldn't call it a higher, because when we say a higher, that means we're separating everybody else, but from a different angle.
Mm-hmm.
So when you see things from a different angle, you know what, we know you're going through the stress and pain. We're here for you, but know that there's a greater plan ahead, at play here. There's a reason for all this. And I think I've said enough about this. It's
Yeah,
beautiful. We're heading into a beautiful future, Lauren.
it is beautiful. And so let's talk about current world events because wow, I'm feeling the compassion in my heart opening right now, just talking about it. There is something happening where we could call it a pressure cooker, where we surrender to love, where what we see in the outside world, with the pandemic that went on, that was a pressure cooker of its own. And now you have a couple of wars. And when people are watching that, and every day you see the same headlines of destruction That right there is another activation, isn't it? The work that it's doing, I can see it on a quantum level. Um, Hopefully, it's not going to divide people even further, but hopefully, it brings in that sense of compassion and a heart opening. What do you think is going on? Have you been given any guidance from the beings that you channel, or any insight from your higher self?
It is a lie. Is it is a fight between light and dark?
Yeah.
This is the final battle. This is the war that's going to end all wars.
No, this is right now.
Oh yeah. Oh yes. What we see on TV is not all real. What we see on TV is not all true.
Or even in the newspaper. That
Everybody who owns this, there's one group, very minute, small group that owns the media, and they have an objective. They have a reason to do what they're doing. It's all about control, about deceit, and money, power, and some very sinister things, very evil things. I wouldn't even title them as humans. They're monsters.
Mhm.
And as we move forward in time, these things will be revealed, so they're shown to us. If you and I would sit down and know everything about what's happening today and what's going on the planet, and we have a movie, and we tell everyone, hey, this is what's going on, most of the people will not believe you, and they're not going to change. So instead, God has to show us what is really going on. What's been happening on the ground, the tunnels, what's going on with the children, human trafficking, child slavery. Very, very tough stuff. This is a cancer in our planet. Cancer has to go. Before we move forward, this cancer has to be eradicated from our planet. We cannot move forward in a higher consciousness when you have that evil sitting in our planet and doing whatever he wants. No more. It's over. Game done. Now, light has already won. And what does that mean? You already chose to stay here. Dark is not going to leave without a fight. Think of this as a football game between light and dark, and we're leading about 100 points. And there's only 5 minutes left for the game. What are we going to do? We have to continue the game until the bell rings. We're very close to the bell ring, to the end of the game. To expose what it is that's happening on our planet, this is what's going on. The players are making their moves. It's a very complex game. And what I say by game, I'm not saying this is a game is a very literal game. It's a massive, massive game, chess game on a 5-dimensional level. Many chessboards working at the same time, connected to one another. Very complex, very intense, very dangerous. So we're moving into an event, a scare event, where this is going to cause fear, to awaken people, to show people what's going on. Again, you have to see what's going on. This will expose stuff. This will expose the banks, the food industry, the transportation, the governments, the militaries, the secret agencies. It's going to expose everything. And we're going to see it. And then we're going to say no more. Because not until we know what's going on, not until it's shown to us, we will know what to do afterwards. How are we going to clean the oceans where they're basically causing that problem in the first place? We have to eradicate them. We have to get them out of the picture. And so this is it is a biblical time event that we're going through. And we are blessed to be here, take part in this, and to assist humanity and to assist ourselves too. Um, the entire universe is looking at us and excited in celebration for what's happening. And the earth is going to graduate. We are their children. Our DNA is part of theirs. Our DNA is part of the whales. We're all an extension of one. And we have a lot of support. We have a lot of assistance. I'm going to go to the extent of saying this also. There is not going to be a nuclear war. There are no nuclear weapons on the planet. They cleaned
The
it out.
the ETs have helped us with that,
Definitely.
and that's coming
100%.
out more and more. Okay, that's beautiful. That's beautiful.
So
That's really reassuring. Go ahead.
take a deep breath. Everything's good. We're going to see war. There's going to be death. There's no war without death. But not until you see death and pain, you're not going to change. It's human nature. Human nature in itself is changing, but it cannot change until it lets go of the old habits, the old paradigms, the old ways of doing things. And it's happening right now as we speak. From a biblical and scriptures point of view, it's the Messiah time. And there's what they call the pains of the Messiah. Before the Messiah comes in, there's pain. It's the same analogy as when you use birth. When a mother is ready to birth her child, she goes through pain. The pain stays there and intensifies until the last moment when the baby comes out. And then the most incredible love in the world comes out of her. Having the baby on her chest. How magnificent is that? That's the closest love you can experience. That's the closest to God. And it's given to a mother. I'm not saying a father cannot, but a mother is mother's a mother. That's a key for self-love. Next time you think about that moment, I want you to think about it when you look in the mirror. Bring that love into yourself.
You have just answered a question I was going to say or ask. What is our human protocol? What is our responsibility? And you mentioned compassion. There needs to be a spike in compassion. And then self-love. Self-love is really, we've talked about this on this platform as well, is it really is the key. And isn't it amazing that we can love others so much more than even ourselves? So have the whales or any other guidance given you advice or information about what we can each do, how we can connect with them, how we can do the work in the world at this time? What needs to be done? Do we need to just stay focused in the reality 3 feet in front of us? Or what do you suggest that we do?
We each are unique in our own way. Some are painters, some are sculptors, some like to make food. Each one have their own job and qualification, quote unquote. And so whatever you choose, whatever your heart's desire is aligned with it. You want to do meditation, group meditations? Go for it. You want to go to the beach and pray, talk to the whales? Go for it. You want to heal the water? Heal the water. You want to go work with children? Work with children. You want to go plant some trees somewhere? Plant some trees. You want to go clean the ocean? Clean the ocean. Anything that is aligned with your heart is perfect. Doesn't matter.
Okay, that's it. That's the recipe. That's the
Yeah.
recipe. The heart's desire, staying aligned with the heart. Yeah, absolutely. Okay.
Joe Dispenza, as you mentioned him, he's a great man, and I think he's on top of it. He knows what he's talking about, and he's been talking about this projection, heart projection.
Mhm.
Because of, I think, heart coherence, right? Heart mind coherence. Um, when we tap into the future, no matter what time it is, 10 years from now, 5 years from now, and we tap into that potential and we bring it to the present, that beautiful future, then we are on track into that potential future. And we recently launched a couple of healing journeys with the whales. It's called the Spectacle. And at the end of each one, it's a series of two. We focus on that future to bring it forth, to bring it to the present, so that we are all aligned with one golden, beautiful, peaceful, loving, free, abundant, healthy future for ourselves and for our children.
Beautiful. All right. Yes. All right. It feels really good. Thank you. Thank you. Thank you. I want
Thank
to
you.
ask you about your coffee sessions, your reading, your coffee readings for people.
Mm-hmm.
So you said it gets a little intense and people can do this remotely. And then you also teach people how to do it. Do you want
Mm-hmm.
to add anything more about these personal sessions and then how people can learn to do this on the planet? I know people are really intrigued by it. Do you bless the water of the coffee first, or there's no need for that? It's just a ceremony that you're offering, and the water reveals the information.
They say spirit loves ceremony. So in whatever fashion you would like the candle, have a crystal around it. That's fine. It's all good. Um, it's fairly simple, and the key here is to open your mind and be willing to listen to what the message comes through, not to judge it, and put your mind aside, your intellect, where it thinks too much, that talking head that talks too much and wants to talk before what comes forth, and just allow things to flow through. So anybody can read coffee. And so in this course, I guide you through every step of the way from making the coffee and then reading and then also the business aspect. You can create your own little business and without a business even, just maybe a bartering way of, assisting people. And this opens up into an opportunity to even have this as an added value to your existing practice. So let's say you're a tarot card reader. You can also turn over a cup at the same time. I know one who does it. Beautiful woman. I've known her for many years. She actually lives nearby. She'll does the same thing. She's around 90 years old and she does, oh, Eddie, come on here. We'll sit down and have some coffee. Very sweet little mama. So a combination of tarot card reading and coffee can go very well. Astrology, you can combine the two. It's a very powerful modality. I use it for myself. My son, who is 16, he's learning to do it himself, and he's opening his own service too. Um, Very proud. Um, hmm. Then the coffee reading itself is fairly simple to be in it, meaning you don't have to have anything ready except for bringing your questions and being willing to listen and open up. Everything is, I take care of it. I'm there for you. It's a safe space. We talk, we have a conversation. Um, it's between an hour and a half. And I say this to everyone, I'm not expecting you to be dependent on me. I want you to be independent. So if somebody comes in and says, Eddie, I want a reading every week, not happening. I give you enough information, enough knowledge, enough stuff to work with that will last you at least 3 months. Um, some exceptions I understand, but on a regular basis, no. And so we can talk about present life, past life, future life, um, things with mom, dad, body, physical, um, health wise. Um, Things do come up. Your children, your dog, your trees, your land, your house, your financials, everything. Any subject you have on your mind and the heart, just bring it forth. We'll talk about it. And whatever information that comes in, either from the cup itself or beyond the cup, then we'll have the information for you, there for you.
Okay, beautiful. Wonderful. Thank you. Thank you. Thank you for that. We have the option for people to have a personal coffee reading with you, that one-on-one session. It's right here on this webpage. And we also have that course where people can learn to read coffee for clients. Again, I love it. It's a new earth business. It helps our planet become more aware and more compassionate. So when the people hear, when they see, when you're talking about the messages from the coffee in the images that come up, do they get that? Does it just resonate deeply with them? Do they have an epiphany like, wow? Or is it like, does it reveal something that maybe they're not aware of in their subconscious that they now are aware of?
All of that you just described,
Mm-hmm.
because each one is individually different and unique in their own cup. I If there's something that's very visual and very clear, and they ask for it, I take a picture and I make a circle and send them the picture so they can see what I'm talking about. Um, and so there are situations, primarily in the beginning, things may not seem as if I'm talking about the subject that you wanted to hear, perhaps, but the coffee has a mind of its own. The message is coming from a different direction. And so I say, I'm going to start talking and I'm going to share with you some things. And if it doesn't align yet, just wait a little bit. Things are going to connect at the end. I promise you. And at the end, the whole picture comes together. It's like a puzzle. And this could be, for example, let's say I see that there is a relationship challenge between three people, you and two more. It has to do with work situation. And they say, I don't know what you're talking about. And after a few seconds or a few minutes, it's, oh, that's what you meant.
Uh-huh.
And so that's when it clicks. Um, that is some cases, and some cases just right to the point, and sometimes they don't remember, and so we leave it at that.
But they'll come back later and say, wow, I get it now. Aha. They have their own aha moments
There are the aha moments, yeah, in the session and later too.
later. Sure.
They call me Eddie a few months later. Eddie, you won't believe what happened. Yeah,
Yeah,
it does
yeah.
happen.
I
Yeah,
want to show some images here. And
sure.
I'm going to bring this up because I share this because it's going to help people understand. So here's some cup examples. And so for the untrained eye, some would say, what are we looking at here? But for those who get this, let's take this first one right here. So this is what a first date looks like. Can you tell us what reading was going on here? Was it someone who wanted a first date or what?
This is
Bring this up a little bit
this
closer.
was a long time ago.
Okay, because we
Okay,
can,
I no, I remember. Okay,
there we go.
this is a woman's cup.
Okay.
This is a timeline of about 6 to 8 months down from the moment we had the coffee. And in the circle, you can vividly or just kind of see two people standing again, facing one another within a circle. The one on the left is the woman. You can either pick up on the energy or the physicality of the woman. She has long hair. You can see the black
Yeah.
hair coming along the side. And then the man right across from her, you can see that his left hand is extended outwards and he's holding some flowers.
Yes.
Yeah. And you see the little dots around the flowers? That means he has good intentions. And this circle that's there around, it means that this is a union. This is a fresh union. It's not solid yet because you see the left, the woman, she's uncertain yet. The
Mm.
circle is open. He's certain. He knows what he wants. He's a little stubborn too. You see, there's a little that. How do I explain this? Hold on. The extension of the circle on the right. It seems like it's a little half a leaf. No, not a little bit to the right.
This right.
Outside the circle. No, outside on the right, outside the circle. Yes, this one. This
Ah,
one represents his intention and his is where he wants us to go. He's trying to lead this in a particular way, but the woman is not 100% there yet. So this is very fresh. And so that's going to take them a while to solidify this. This is a first date.
Do you recall what happened with this lady who you gave a reading to? Was this significant for her, revealing to her that this was coming in her future?
You know what? I don't remember.
Yeah, okay, some time ago.
I don't remember. Yeah, it's been a while.
Very interesting. Very, very interesting. All right, let's go on to another one. This is interesting.
This is representing the base of the cup. The base of the cup represents the heart and the home. And so if you can see that the circle at the base, it looks like a flower all the way around. It's fairly solid. It's beautiful. It sets the tone, meaning that the heart is in a good place. The home is in a good place. There's nothing negative going on here. It's very, very solid, very peaceful.
Wow, okay. Awesome. And then this one,
The letter J. So a J can, when you see a letter, could be a name, could be an address, it could be a company, um, could be a month. In this case, it's the entire line of this dark stretch represents a time period that the cup drinker and this J are going through together. So let's say, for example, this is a relationship between J and the reader, business relationship. They're going through a struggle. So this is how it may look like. I don't recall the cup.
hmm,
But this is to show that letters do come and they do represent.
yes.
Sometimes letters in different languages, words in different languages, music notes, um, anything. Simply, it's just like a movie.
Mm. Okay, and finally, one more. We're going to do one more. This one, this is interesting as well.
So this, what the lines that you're seeing, um, is this the mother? Can you go up a little bit? It's the mother,
Yes.
right? Yeah.
Man,
Okay.
woman,
So
child.
the man is the one on the right, on the left. He's extending his will, his yes. He's extending his weight, emotional, energetical weight on the mother. Now the mother is the one that's in the middle, and then the child is the one that's supporting the mother. It's a
Ah,
little thing on the bottom on the right.
so is
The
this like
little
the head? Do you see that as the
yeah,
mom?
yes, that's the
Uh,
legs, and yes, and you can see at the bottom they have a connection. There's a sexual connection. You see the line? That
this?
means there's a connection. You would not see something like this between a mother and a son or a daughter, or a father and a son, right? You see this separation. Here, this is a relationship. There's a sexual connection,
uh-huh.
meaning a romantic connection. So this is a couple situation. No, he's overextending his energy over her, and the child in this case is the one that's holding the mother.
This triangle, white
This
triangle.
there is a triangle, a support, and at the same time, the child is this line that right under the mother. Under the mother, yes, this one.
This one.
The child is solid, is strong. It's there for a reason. Children come in to assist us as parents. They're here to guide us and help us grow. Sometimes the children are more powerful than the parents.
Yes. Definitely an older soul, perhaps.
Mhm.
Okay. Fascinating. And that's a nice description of the work that you do with the coffee reading. And it's all from, we're going back to the water, and it's all from the energetics of the water and the energy of the water. So I want to thank you for this. And I want to invite our viewers and listeners to check out ways to work with you right here on this webpage. Scroll down and you'll find it. And as we say goodbye, I'd like you to share any comment or insight to wrap up our conversation here on water and the beauty of water, or anything that we can do to assist on the planet.
I invite each and every one of you to bless the water every morning. Literally get down on your knees and pray. Be grateful, be thankful for everything that you have, and have a cup of water with you too. And bless the water and have a sip. Just eat, speak to the water whatever you desire. Thank you with gratitude. Thank you for the health. Thank you for the rejuvenation. Thank you for the love. Thank you for the guidance. And you'll start to see some very incredible miracles in your life. I promise.
We are looking for miracles. We're all miracle workers. And again, the compassion in our hearts and the self-love that you talked about is really a key for all of this. And we thank you for being here. And
Thank you, Lauren. Appreciate you. Thank you for this time. Thank you for the opportunity, and tons of love to everyone. I'll see you soon.
Thank you.
This has been a presentation of New Earth One Network, your home for New Earth living. Access information, education, and videos on living from the heart in unity consciousness. Visit newearth1.com.